Hey, so now that you know what to say in your sales calls, you know the questions to ask, you know the process and the framework to follow, and you know what you're looking for, now you can start to track what you're doing so that you know how you're progressing. And also so that you know where to focus. Because it's really easy to get very overwhelmed and forget how far you've came. So when you're able to start tracking, you'll be able to see in numbers and in exactly where to focus, where you've came, where you're focusing now, and where you're going. All right, so just a call review scorecard that I've put together for you. And so basically just rate yourself from 1 to 5 on what we've learned on the IHELP framework. Okay, so here's how it looks. So you can just, the way that I've set this up is that you can go in to this tracking document and make a copy so that you can keep a copy for every call if you want to. You don't have to, but if you're the kind of person that really likes to keep records of your specific calls that you review, this is a really good idea. All right, so here's what you're reviewing yourself on. Score yourself on 1 to 5 for each of these pillars. All right. 1 is not at standard required, needs immediate attention. 2 is needs work, it's fairly urgent, and it's stopping sales from being made. 3 is it's a decent standard, it's not urgent, but it does have the potential to ruin a sale. 4 is it is good standard, it's not low-hanging fruit, so you can address it as a low priority. Like once you've already developed a good foundation, all of the rest, a 4 would be, that's actually pretty good. Number 5 is it's a great standard, it's a positive, no need to really improve. You feel like you've mastered it, okay? So at each stage, number 1 is inquire, so you're going to give yourself a score of 1 to 5, okay? And just any notes that come up. So don't overwhelm yourself with a bunch of notes. All you want to do is give yourself, for example, one thing that you could do better based on this call. Or even what you've done well. So don't always be writing what you could do better. So you can write what you did well and any areas that need to improve. You might ask some of the questions that you asked and some of the questions that you could ask, okay? So second one is here, same thing. Give yourself a score of 1 to 5, write down some notes. Third, elevate urgency. You'll know whether or not you've done that based on the questions you've asked, and going through the elevate urgency module. So you'll know how close you were to that, or if you were just asking more situational type questions. This is basically a measure of how deep did you go. Did you go deep enough to create urgency so that the person would feel urgent enough to take action? Number 4 is list. So this is just reflecting back what the person has said in their exact words, not in your rephrasing their words. Make sure this is in their words. Again, refer back to the list to know what you're actually doing here. This should be the simplest one. If you can, write down or at least remember specific terms and phrases and words that they've used. You're just listing back before you make the offer. So you can list throughout the call, but really make sure that you're listing succinctly right before you make the offer, because remember how we said in the list module that people forget what they've said. They forget the conversation, and when it just comes to the offer, if you haven't reminded them of that, you can actually have just kind of wasted your time. So then prescribe, and this is when you are saying your offer. So this is something you want to get really clear. You want to get your pillars clear, and remember that you're inserting their words. And you want to do it fairly simply, communicate this pretty easily so that you can just do it in a normal conversation. You can role play this with a friend or another coach in here, or even on our sales calls. Make sure that you're confident when you're prescribing in their words and what they will get, like the benefit of each pillar to them. Then in number 6, this is just objection handling. So you want to give yourself some clarity on here as to how well you did. So give yourself a score of 1 to 5. You might write what the specific objection was and how you felt you handled it, and any areas that you feel like you need to get better in. Like you might feel that you got a price objection, but you didn't actually navigate it the way that I taught you in the price objection module. So really, the whole purpose of this is to just give you clarity as to, again, how far you're progressing, looking at knowing where to focus for your next sales call. So you're not trying to remember everything. You're not trying to learn everything and fix everything all at once, but you know what your score was. You can give a quick summary here, and here's the key, is an immediate action plan. So give yourself one thing that you can do as an immediate action plan. So not all the things that you feel are still not good yet, one thing. And when you repeat this process and you listen back to your calls and you repeat the process of reviewing, you will see your progress and your score getting better. And especially when you're able to go back through the modules and compare where you're at with what I've taught you in the modules, then you'll see your growth really accelerate. So yeah, I hope you action this, and I hope it really gives you confidence when you're in your sales calls, and you can actually start to enjoy your sales calls and just really be of service and ask the questions that are going to create transformation for your ideal client. All right? I hope that was helpful. Any questions, pop them in the group. Hey everyone, so in this video, it's really just a follow-on from the last video, which we obviously put together. But what you can see here is it's really just bringing all of your call reviews together. So almost like a library where you can literally keep a record of your progress, your running progress, so that you can basically see your progress in numbers, because it can be quite hard whenever you're learning and developing the skill set of sales. It can be really easy to focus on what's not happening, and it can be really difficult to move through when you don't see the progress that you want in terms of your income or your close rates or even just your calls. And so what I really would like to do here is to encourage you to celebrate what you're doing well. And make sure that whenever you're recording your calls and that you're reviewing your calls, which I really encourage you to do that at least once a week. Review a call at least once a week. What you're looking for is, as we've listed here, I inquire, give yourself points out of 5. Here, give yourself points out of 5. Elevate urgency, give yourself points out of 5. Same for list, prescribe, and objection handling. So you've got a total of 30. And again, you're just putting it all here together. So what you're doing when you're looking for your progress is you could look at it like a total of 30, but it's really good to be able to see when you're focusing on just one area. So let's say you want to really just focus on inquire, first of all, because the first part of the call that's usually where everything comes from in terms of the results. So look at maybe in your first month you're not getting very good here in terms of out of 5, and you could know, okay, that's where I really want to focus. So you can just focus on this. So you can list the others, but really just focus on asking really good questions. And whenever you've got that one down, then you could literally just move on to here, where you're really listening for things like sighing, nervous laughter, throat clearing, tonality changes, paces in your voice changing. So then you can actually know where to dig in deeper to elevate urgency. And so, for example, let's say whenever you're putting all this together, that you know here you've got the call summary, you've got your immediate action plan, you've got the link to the call, which I usually recommend just upload it to an unlisted YouTube video, and then you can write in your notes here what specifically you're working on and what you can celebrate, what you did really well. So that's pretty much it. Remember to use this on a weekly basis and you'll see your progress. So I want to just celebrate you for being here. Celebrate yourself for being here. You're in the process of learning, and it can be a difficult process, but I want to just really acknowledge you and celebrate you and encourage you that as you're developing your sales skills that you are progressing, and this is a good way to see it. All right, I look forward to seeing how it goes. Bye-bye.